Hi there, everybody. It is Coach Amanda. How are you? It is Wednesday at 11, so we're having our weekly training. And this week, I want to finally give you that freezer and refrigerator tour that I have been talking about having, just so you can maybe get some ideas. Think about what could you keep around as a backup. That's where I really lean into the freezer for. I even to the best of my ability and my kids' ability, organize our refrigerator by carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, so we can really see, just have a great visual of how we can create our blood sugar balanced meals. Because you guys, I teach my kids about blood sugar balanced eating. I teach them that when you have carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that grew from the earth or had a mother, you feel better when you eat them. You're gonna feel more full, and you can have lots of energy, and you're gonna be in a better mood, and they're getting the hang of it. So let me get in there and show you all of the things, and I am doing this just on my phone, so if you have questions, I will do my best to answer as they come up, as long as I can see everything here in Facebook Live on my phone. So happy Wednesday, and let's get in there. And okay, real quick, if you haven't heard me share before, ask in the comments and I can guide you to a post to help you understand and learn more. But I use blood sugar balanced eating as what I have come to think of it as. And essentially what it is that I've learned we need 3 big molecules to be well. They're carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and that's why they're on nutrition labels, if you ever noticed those 3. And when we have them together, then our body digests in a really healthy way. So our insulin, which goes to work every time we eat, it's our master hormone, and it works with our blood sugar. Our insulin's balanced and our blood sugar is balanced by carbohydrates, proteins, and fats together, and we feel the difference. And unfortunately, if we don't know that, which unfortunately we don't yet learn that in school. I wish we did. Someday I'll get there and have my own, I'll be teaching, like how to take care of yourself 101 in schools. I would love that. But for now, we'll just teach our kids ourselves that once we learn that and we kind of start to see, oh, those are carbs, those are fats, that's protein, and you try them together, then you do feel it. And when you have a meal that's just all carbs and maybe even simple carbs like white bread and rolls and white potatoes with no skin, like a lot of us had at Thanksgiving, then you feel sleepy and low energy and maybe even a little grouchy later and hungry again. That's why. So let's get in there and we'll talk macros in the fridge. And sorry for the crazy lighting, but it is what it is right now. The fridge actually gives us nice lighting. Look at that. So let's see if I can give you a good view. Okay, we can even talk through the low sugar condiments I have found, because that's something helpful. But I usually am doing here, let me get out of the picture and just let the fridge have the scene. Down here, this is where I keep my fiber and fruit. So fiber is a form of carbohydrates. Fruit are a carbohydrate, essentially. That's all that's in them are carbohydrates. Some veggies actually have a little protein, like broccoli, superfood. But so I'm keeping fiber here for my leftovers for lunches that I always talk about. So there is a tub of spinach or spring mix is always there for everyone to access. And then in my veggie drawer, I always have sweet mini peppers, as long as they're on the store shelf. I admit I let Costco do the chopping on my celery. My kids could take this for lunches. It's a great form of filling fiber to let you chew to feel full, send fullness hormone signals to your body. And baby carrots are in there. And then I'll show you these bags, which some of y'all are using too. I'm liking these from Target, honestly. But this is that chopped cabbage that you can also just buy a bag of coleslaw or broccoli slaw or both if you don't want to do the chopping. And you've got fiber, a form of carbohydrate, ready to help you feel full and to digest properly. Fiber is like the secret weapon in all of this kind of eating. It's the non-starchy form of carbohydrates. So I kind of think of potatoes. That's an example of starchy carbohydrates. But this cabbage and celery and all the veggies, most of the veggies are the more non-starchy forms of carbohydrates. And they, again, help us feel full and help us digest food in a way that doesn't get our blood sugar too high. It keeps our insulin and blood sugar very happy. And that is what leads to all of our hormone balance and wellness and being well enough to burn fat. That fiber, it's like one of the biggest players in why real food leads to wellness and fat loss. So, and here's my other last fiber. Let me see if I can show you this guy without dropping him. This is my Exo salad spinner, and in there is just romaine, and it just lives in there in the salad spinner because that's the best way I found to keep it yummy so far, and I always have a head of that in there because it just goes with everything. So the next kind of section we have are the more starchy carbohydrates that are hanging around that might need to be in the refrigerator. And they kind of take up 2 shelves because carbohydrates are our main source of fuel, really. They are about 45% of my daily calories. So I have some beans that we didn't use all of yet. Beans do have a bit of protein and great fiber. They're really a great carbohydrate, great starchy carbohydrate. There's some watermelon back there, great carbohydrate source. Some oatmeal that was left from breakfast. My husband, remember, cooks a big batch for us this morning, and then we save it for kiddo breakfast and my breakfast through the week. And then here's waiting for me to break my fast, my overnight oats. So they are mainly a healthy carbohydrate. And then kind of overlapping here, I have a bowl of probably 2 servings left of a white bean chicken chili that has a lot of beans in it. So it's actually a really good source of carbs, but it also has a great amount of protein. So that is calling my name for today's leftover for lunch. If you heard me on Instagram this morning, I wasn't sure if I was going to get to do what for leftovers for lunch, but hello, white bean chicken chili. That recipe is from 40 Aprons. I shared a little bit about it here in the group, and it is a winner. It's really fast and easy. And the only tweak I made was I added a tube of turkey sausage to it, just for a little more protein and flavor, and doesn't add too much fat. And the recipe already was very low in fat. So speaking of fats, let's talk fats before we talk protein. So up here, let me see if I can show you in this corner, top corner, you see eggs, and there's coconut milk. That's the fats section, and it's smaller than the other sections, and that's because literally we need less fats. A little fat goes a long way. Fat has over twice as many calories per gram as does carbohydrates and protein. And so you can kind of tell our body set it up that way, that we just don't need to eat as much fat. It gives us twice the amount of fuel, okay? And now it's kind of tricky because it's so delicious, but what do I always keep in here? Coconut milk is one of my new always haves. I like this full fat coconut milk. My brand, it's an organic brand I found, or coconut cream. I love it over blueberries. I love it. I just love it. So it's in here all the time. There's lots of new ways you can make ice cream with it these days. So that's one of my favorite healthy fats. Eggs are another fantastic healthy fat. And I know if you think about cholesterol, you might have heard, oh, eggs, cholesterol, but all the new learning out there now is that truly our cholesterol situation, oh, I'm gonna have to close the door, it's gonna yell at us. Our cholesterol situation, when we have the most updated research, we learn that our cholesterol, for almost all of us, really isn't high from dietary cholesterol. It can come from actually too much blood sugar. So everyone is different. Some of us are predisposed to high cholesterol by our genetics, absolutely are, but it is just so important to be avoiding our added sugars and really eating a blood sugar balanced way of eating to help our body have the proper cholesterol. And did you know all of our hormones are made from cholesterol? So when our hormones are out of balance and our cholesterol is out of balance, it's really hard for us to be well. It's amazing how everything's so tied together. So there is grass-fed butter up here as a healthy fat, and we sometimes use ghee, which is in the pantry because it is shelf stable. And then I don't talk about these much because actually I don't love them, but a lot of you all do. These are hemp seeds that have been smashed up, hemp hearts. They're a healthy fat that also has protein, kind of like pumpkin seeds, where there's mostly healthy fat, but protein comes in second place. So we keep these in the refrigerator to keep the healthy fats from going rancid. Essentially, like the fat molecule can change a bit if it doesn't stay at the right setting, and then it's not going to do your body any good anymore. So we keep those hemp hearts in there. They have a nutty flavor. You can use them in every way under the sun. So I don't know if you're not sure about them. I don't know that I recommend buying that big bag from Costco like we did, but I know we'll eventually go through them for healthy fats. And then some of my very favorite healthy fats are over here in the fridge. Sunflower seed butter with no added sugar. It's actually yummier, I promise you, with no added sugar. If you've tried it and weren't sure about sunflower seed butter, look and see if yours had added sugar, because when you take it out, it's got a whole new flavor profile that just works better. And then my new favorite thing in the world, this crunchy almond butter. This is another game changer for me. With it being crunchy, I love this for healthy fats. And I use it in my oatmeals when I'm wanting them to taste like pie, like with frozen cherries or peaches, which you'll see in the freezer in a second. So I am all about the crunchy almond butter. I would love to hear if anyone else is loving the crunchy lately. Then we have a mixed nut butter from Costco. All of the nut and seed butters are fats. You may have heard they're a way of getting protein. They will give you a little, but they truly are mostly healthy fats. Then over here I have my soy milk, which is actually mostly protein and then a little bit of healthy fat. My kids do still have some cow milk now and again, so that is there. And though the next piece of the puzzle that could give you healthy fats will transition us into condiments. So let's talk about that, and then I'll show you how I'm keeping protein around, because really I think that is the biggest trick that can make your fridge the most powerful, is if you can keep the protein around. So another healthy fat we keep around is this avocado oil mayonnaise. You can make it into dressings, put a little over your fish taco in a bowl or over your burger in a bowl. A little bit goes a long way. I find this brand, this avocado oil mayonnaise in general, has more mayonnaise flavor. So you can use less, and it's a healthier fat because of the avocado oil it's made of. So I'm a big fan of that one. And then there are a few other dressings we have discovered that have healthy oils in them, like olive oil. I'm trying to see, here's one from the Bragg's. Their organic vinaigrette dressing is a healthy oil and a way to get in a dose of fat. If you don't want any avocado or seeds or nuts on a salad or a dinner, just put a little bit of avocado oil or olive oil based dressing and you've added on healthy fats. Then I keep around this Tessemae's Habanero Ranch for low carb days when I need more healthy fats. This is a good dose of fats. And I keep around Dairy-Free Ranch. Oops, no, this isn't the right one. That one I don't love. Oh no, I'm almost out, but here it is. The Primal Kitchen Dairy-Free Ranch. I really like this one. I use it on my Brussels sprouts with chicken thighs dish, that Brussels sprouts with bacon skillet. So good. A little Frank's Red Hot sauce in there and the dairy-free ranch, and it is amazing. So that is really the end of the healthy fats. Before we go into protein, let me say I always have berries on hand. I should have said those when I said carbohydrates. So we have a fruit drawer that always will have berries in it, apples, and bananas. Those are just a staple. I just always have them on the list, always add them to the cart, because I can use berries, apples, and bananas in so many ways to get in really great doses of healthy carbohydrates that have fiber, especially the berries, so you don't, again, spike your blood sugar when you're eating your carbohydrates. So you feel good, you feel full, you feel satisfied, you're protecting your cholesterol levels, you're protecting your hormone levels with the fiber that's in the berries, and in the apple with the skin on, and in bananas. So let's talk protein. I have mainly if it's in my fridge, the protein is probably a leftover in our family. On Sundays, I do almost every weekend get out to the grill and grill up chicken thighs, chicken breasts, some kind of burgers, maybe some pork chops or sliced up pork tenderloin, and keep them just here in the fridge in the protein area for anyone to use at any time, so we have enough protein. And then we have some leftovers, because about 2 weeks ago, I on purpose, and I shared these recipes in the group with you, and just remind me, I will link them in the comments of this post, that we went ahead and had some crock pot dinners every night so I could make double batches of protein and freeze them. So that's what this came from, a crock pot of shredded Mexican beef. So we're still using the leftovers from that from the freezer. It freezes beautifully and thaws quickly. And another always in my freezer protein is, let's see if you can see without me having to take the lid off. There's some beef sausages in there. So beef and chicken sausages that are already cooked are always in our freezer as a ready to go backup, along with what I shared yesterday in the group, which is those peppers, bell peppers and onions. You can buy a bag of fajita mix, they call it, that's bell peppers and onions. Keep it in your freezer with the chicken or the beef sausages, and you can make an instant meal if you also have a jar of marinara sauce or a frozen portion of marinara sauce. I cooked it up last night with some chickpea pasta for the kiddos, and my husband and I were going to have ours over zoodles, but the zoodles were spoiled. So we just added on more peppers and onions and made the best of it. but that can be a lifesaver freezer meal. So let's look, what else is in the freezer on the regular here besides the chicken and beef sausages? I have to say my first thought when I thought about sharing with you guys was this, frozen berries, a frozen berry mix. And Costco is my favorite place to get frozen fruit. They'll often have a huge variety. Blueberries, I'm gonna show you the cherries. Sorry for me bending over in the shot there. These organic frozen cherries from Costco are amazing. And blueberries are almost always there. We just get a bag of each to have because you can warm them on the stove or microwave, put them with oatmeal, put them over toast, put them over pancakes, waffles, ice cream, banana and ice cream, just in a bowl as a snack. Like, there are so many things you can do with frozen fruit. Make a smoothie. And you're getting a great dose of healthy carbohydrates because the cherries still have their skin on them. The berries are full of fiber. Especially if they still have their skin, they've got more fiber, they're gonna digest well, and you're gonna feel more full and satisfied, and it's a fantastic fresh dose of vitamins too from the frozen fruit. So that is a big player in our freezer. I've been also getting these peaches frozen from Kroger. My only flaw in these is they have been skinned, but I do like them in my oatmeal now and again for a treat, and the kids love to just put them in a bowl and let them thaw a little and eat them up. They're great in banana and ice cream, they're great in smoothies. So peaches, cherries, and berries are big players around here in the freezer. And then, let me see if I have any of the packaging. I don't, because I've repackaged this, but let me show you. There is one type of bread that I buy for my family, and I every once in a while have. It's Ezekiel brand, and it is not made from flour. So it has far less gluten, and it comes in an English muffin shape as well. And has a great dose of fiber, even has some protein. And because it wasn't made from flour, the way our body digests it, it goes a lot better. It's a lot more complex carbohydrate. It's actually made from a slurry, is what they call it. And so you want to check that out next time you're at your grocery. In the freezer section, it has to be frozen. It's not shelf stable, which is a good sign because it means it has less preservatives. And again, they have it in the bread shape, they have it in tortilla shape, and they have it in a cinnamon raisin toast and English muffins, Ezekiel. In our Kroger, it is in the freezer section near the organics. And now hopefully it'll be on the regular at Costco. They have the bread. And interestingly, the bread at Costco is a much larger slice than the bread they sell at regular groceries. Very strange to me. But telling, I guess, about us buying food in bulk at Costco. We're getting a lot of food, right? So good, healthy carbohydrates there if you're needing some toaster bread and that Ezekiel brand bread. What else is always in the freezer? A few veggies. I am, for some reason, not frozen veggies biggest fan, but we'll always have corn because I love it. I love corn. We put it in things for a little dose of carbohydrates that are at least whole food. Corn does not have like the most fiber in the world, but at least a little bit. So kind of like a little treat to me. It has so many sugars. It has a little sugary flavor, huh? And frozen peas are always in the freezer, again from Costco, simply because they're so easy to heat up and add carbohydrates and fiber and protein to a meal. And everyone in our family will eat them. They go with so many meals. So frozen peas and frozen corn are always in the freezer around here for our veggies. And then lately we've been doing the frozen cauliflower and frozen broccoli. The cauliflower, I love it if I can find it already riced, and we'll use that just in so many ways with so many dishes. And frozen broccoli, I have a post from wellplated.com. If you're interested, message me or say something in the comments and I'll message you. I have a post from wellplated.com about how to make frozen broccoli roasted on a sheet pan. That's been coming up for me a lot lately because our Kroger has not had broccoli, organic broccoli. It just has disappeared. So I am also not broccoli's biggest fan. Luckily, I like a lot of other veggies. So let me know, though, if you want the frozen broccoli roasted sheet pan recipe, and I'll get that to you in case you want to use broccoli, but you're in that same boat of it's just kind of hard to come by lately around here. Last but not least, those were all pretty much carbohydrates. The only real healthy fat I keep in the freezer is avocados. If we've got some that have gone, I let them sit over here on the counter, and they were like, oh, they're gonna spoil, they're not gonna get used. I will go ahead and take the skin off, take the pit out, and cut them into small chunks and freeze them so we can later use them in smoothies. I don't like the way that they warm up and are just weird after freezing. I wouldn't want to make them into pretty much anything other than guacamole or smoothies, but that we do have that as a healthy fat in the freezer. And then protein, we keep on hand just in case for a backup. Chicken breast, chicken thighs, ground beef, and ground bison. And then I buy fish fillets as often as I can from Costco to save money. Cod is usually in the freezer. It is now because we're going to have the fish taco bowl this week, my favorite. Usually 1 bag of cod fillets out there and 1 bag of salmon fillets. We also have a bag of scallops out there right now. And all of that, with the exception of the ground beef, is from Costco. And it's just, I can then use it for meal plans, but also know if I forget or Kroger is out of something, that I've got a backup in the freezer for protein. And as I said earlier, I do have some protein that is already cooked now in the freezer because I did that week of crock pot meals where I doubled up a lot of recipes like shredded chicken, shredded beef, pulled pork. Those were the big ones. And froze half the recipe to have it to use as we get kind of busy or as I'm just burning out at the end of 2020, which to be perfectly honest, I am. We had a great training in my my VIP group I'm a member of yesterday about reframing the way we're going to think of holidays in the end of 2020. It was really freeing for me. So I will end this with saying, give yourself permission to maybe try a meal delivery service, do some crock pot cooking and freeze half of it. Let yourself off the hook for not making all the cards and candies and baked goods and treats and presents and things this year. If it stressed you out last year, imagine what it's going to do to you this year when we're all already at the end of our rope. So let's give ourselves permission to just take the easy road, embrace it. Maybe this will be the only Christmas we'll do it and it'll be okay. It's not always going to be this way, but I think that's what's going to let us get a little joy out of the rest of this month. And before I go, let me remind you, if you didn't get to see any posts about this or haven't heard me say this, I have made a big decision to, I am a Faster Way to Fat Loss certified coach. And so I have decided, though, for January, February, and March, I will not host a new group of new Fast Away clients. Instead, what I am doing is I'm going to pilot a coaching program where I will coach exclusively women over 40 who are doing everything right but not seeing results. And we're going to do hormone testing together. I have my support of my hormone specialist in place to get you started even before the program starts. And so I will walk you through hormone testing and you will be working with the best of the best. And then we will learn all about blood sugar balanced eating if you've never gotten to learn that with me before, or you just feel like you need some hand holding to make sure it gets done. So we'll have 2 weeks I've planned for exactly what I'm doing here. And we will learn then also what I call beyond the blood sugar balanced eating, which will entail also intermittent fasting. We're going to learn smarter, not harder lifestyle. So we're going to set up a routine for you to mindfully manage your stress, a routine for you to mindfully work on prioritizing your sleep, and a routine for you to be exercising smarter, not harder, because now once you're over 40, that exercise routine needs to look different for you to get results and keep yourself well long-term so you don't wind up exercising and actually hurting yourself and blocking your weight loss. So that will be a 3-month experience. It's going to be intense. We're going to have an hour of coaching each week and do most of our learning through that live Zoom call, coaching call. So I will teach you, face to face, and then we'll have face-to-face time to talk and get coaching as a small group. I'm envisioning this will be like 6 to 10 women over 40 and over. And it will be amazing. And by the end of the 3 months, oh my gracious, we'll get to see how you're set up with your hormone support and what you have learned about blood sugar balanced eating and what results that's gotten you and using intermittent fasting and then getting your sleep and your stress routine in place. We're going to use a really neat platform too. I have to say we're not going to be on Facebook. We will have daily accountability and support, and all of the resources and even macro tracking is all going to be through one website that's not Facebook, and it's private, set up for wellness coaches. So it's going to be pretty amazing. I am very excited for it, and I would love to answer questions or talk with you one-on-one if you are wondering if it's for you, if we'd be a good fit. So you can reach out to me in the comments, and we can talk in messages and see what you think. So go stock up that fridge and freezer, take it easy on yourself for the rest of 2020, and reach out to me if you have questions about my coaching intensive that's going to begin January 4th. All right, have a great rest of the day, everybody. I'll check in with you in the group soon.